We will do what we have to do, Honorable Speaker, and fight for the rights of the devolution family in the best way that we can, because that is the duty that we saw to undertake. Honorable Speaker, I want to make it clear from the onset that I agree fully with the recommendations that have been made by our own committee on budget and finance. Speaker, I want to refer you very quickly to page 6 of that report. At page 6 of that report, Honorable Speaker, you will see that the committee has noted the projected revenue for the financial year 2025-2026 is estimated to be 2.8 trillion shillings. Out of this, the national government share is 2.4, Honorable Speaker, representing 85.3% of our entire revenue. And that the 405 billion Kenya shillings that has been proposed for the devolution family represents a paltry 14.28% of the total revenue. 14.28 falls short of the threshold that has been set by the Constitution of a minimum of 15%. Honorable Speaker, of course, they will argue that they are basing their math on the last audited accounts that have been approved by Parliament. But we know that this continues to be an injustice to the devolution family. Somebody made a remark in the morning here that, in fact, the current Treasury CS, John Mbadi, was the chair of PAC in the National Assembly, whose responsibility it was to ensure that the National Assembly is up to date so that the devolution family does not continue to lose money. I will come back to John Mbadi in a short while, Honorable Speaker, but allow me to say that the Senate, this House, has recommended 465 billion. I don't know why the Speaker is shaking his head. Honorable Speaker, is there a problem? Have I said something that was offended the Speaker? Because, Honorable Speaker, there was a fly. I'll proceed as if nothing has happened. So, Speaker, if you look at the committee's observations on page 7, that the recommendation we have made as a Senate of 465 billion has science behind it. It is not just a figure that was plucked from the air. And you will see the committee says that the recommendation was informed by the need for county governments to meet new non-discretionary financial obligations relating to, number 1, housing levy deductions. This is a national government imposition. Number 2, contributions to the National Social Security Fund. Number 3, matching allocations for the county integrated industrial parks, which is a program that was initiated by the national government requiring county governments to match them. Matching allocations for community health promoters program. Honorable Speaker, this responsibility falls upon us as a county government to make sure we pay these CHPs. And then the procurement of new medical equipment. When we were in Mandera with Senator Roba, we were informed that all those beautiful machines in that referral hospital have come to the end of their lease, and we need for these county hospitals and facilities to be able to acquire new ones. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, meeting the outstanding obligation under doctors' collective bargaining agreements and annual wage drift. Speaker, you know, every single day, medical workers are outside our house here, including yesterday. They were here in Parliament. Sadly, they were tear gassed by the police. I don't know why. Because they have been there every single day for the past 3 or so months. They have been there. Even today, they are here, Honorable Speaker. And we have been told by the leadership of these unions that these collective bargaining agreements are binding to county governments. So, Honorable Speaker, where we have reached in the health sector, in fact, I want to plead with the UHC workers that where we have reached now, the only thing we want to discuss is money. The time for stories is over. And the house that handles money is the National Assembly. So let them be protesting there, because we as a Senate have done our part. The chair of the Budget Committee must allocate the money that is required to absorb these UHC health workers and are permanent and pensionable. When I was in Garissa, I ran into the CS for health. And he was also trying to be clever by drawing in the Senate. Yet we as a Senate have done our job. CS Duale knows very well that the Senate does not appropriate any money. He wants it to look like we are the problem, yet the problem and the people with the power of the purse is the National Assembly, Honorable Speaker. Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, there is the question of the MOU that we signed between ODM and UDA. Honorable Speaker, I said I will come back to CS Mbadi because it has been said out there that I only criticize, but I don't say anything positive about our experts in the government. The truth of the matter is, if you do something that is contrary to what ODM stands for, it is my responsibility to say that that is against what ODM stands for. When CS Mbadi says that in this particular financial year, there will be no new taxes he introduces under the Finance Act, that is ODM. That is who we are. We say tick. When Mbadi says that, I saw in today's newspapers, Honorable Speaker, that he has issued a circular that is going to introduce transparency in the PPP process. He has adopted wholesale the recommendations of the committee of this House on transport and housing, which was dealing with the Adani question, Honorable Speaker, when we said that, number one, if you are a government agency that receives a privately initiated proposal on any development, you have a responsibility to disclose that you have received that document. He has adopted that. As SG, I say, that is ODM. We are for transparency. Tick. Honorable Speaker, we have said in the committee where I used to sit when Karungu Wathangwa was the chair, I was a member, that you have to allow, after you receive a privately initiated proposal for a PPP, you have to allow other people to give you a better offer, what we called in the committee the Swiss challenge. I have seen he has put it in the circular. I say that is ODM. We say tick. But this one here, where he's proposing 405 billion Kenya shillings, it is my responsibility to say to the CS for Treasury, that is not what ODM has agreed with UDA. We agreed in the MOU, and I carry this MOU everywhere I go because I encounter ignorance at all levels, Honorable Speaker. And it is my responsibility to make sure that I deal with the ignorant about what this MOU provides for. Honorable Speaker, the majority leader was with me in Migori, and he asked me that he has read this MOU, that it is a good thing. But he doesn't understand why it is Sifuna's role to ask people questions. I want to explain a few things to him. Unfortunately, he has walked out. Number one, if you look at the constitution of ODM under Article 11, Honorable Speaker, it sets out the duties of members of ODM. Number one, Honorable Speaker, it is our duty as members of a party to understand the programs and the things that the party gets itself into. Once you have understood, it is a responsibility stated in the Constitution to explain what the party is doing. It is my responsibility to explain what we are doing with UDA. And finally, Honorable Speaker, under Article 11, we have a duty to combat propaganda that is detrimental to the interests of ODM. Combat is the word that is used by the Constitution. When you combat, you are not required to be nice. Although my party leader has asked me to reduce the number of papers that I put in the soup. Honorable Speaker, combat means you take it head on. Propaganda that is detrimental to the interests of a party. Such propaganda as to what the provisions of this document are. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, Article 20 of the Constitution of ODM says that the Secretary General of ODM is the depository and custodian. Just a minute, let me make my point. Is the custodian of all documents, including all agreements that the party signs.
Just a minute, Senator Sifuna. What is out of order?
Mr. Speaker, I'm rising under Standing Order number 101, and there's a facet of it. It's a lot of things about it. But generally, if you look at under 101, is the content of speeches that we make in this House. And Mr. Speaker, the SG of ODM, who is my SG, who I really also respect also as my deputy party whip, deputy whip in this House, has brought the argument on the agreement that ODM had with Kenya Kwanza as a substantive conversation around what we must have in this House when we're looking at what we have. Mr. Speaker, this is a spirit that I do support. However, Mr. Speaker, is it in order for this to be the basis for which we are discussing the issue of division of revenue in this House, when that agreement has not been put in this House and tabled as would be required under that standing order, Mr. Speaker, to the extent that there has been a motion that informs our debates here? Because if you revert to that as a substantive issue that informs your speech in this House, then, Mr. Speaker, we will be taking the role of this parliament away from us and taking it to discussions outside the Senate, Mr. Speaker, so that we are actually taking our role as senators to debate issues in this house, Mr. Speaker, and giving it to forces outside the Senate, Mr. Speaker. And the reason why I'm saying this, Mr. Speaker, is because the issue of division of revenue, what happens, Mr. Speaker, for senators in this house who are not party to that particular agreement? They need to participate in the division of revenue conversation, Mr. Speaker. Is it in order for the Senator of Nairobi to bring that argument and that document as a basis for us to discuss in this house, Mr. Speaker?
Senator Okech, I've looked at the standing order 101, contents of speech from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I cannot see any contravention from what the Senator Sifuna is addressing to. You know, when debating, you can really gather your things from here and there as you put your points in order. You know, we cannot limit debate in this house or people to think in a certain way. And that is why the Senate is respected, because senators are able to speak even 20 minutes. Unless other houses where they only do 2-3 minutes and they sit down. So let us not stifle debate, as long as he's not mentioning names anyhow. But this standing order can accuse you somehow, Senator Sifuna. So avoid mentioning names of other people. Mention the office, which is okay, but the names are not going to use the names of the CS by his name and not these other people.
Honorable Speaker,
maybe because he is not the CS now, maybe he has been reshuffled. So use the office.
Well guided, Honorable Speaker, you can see that my point has been demonstrated, that I encounter ignorance even from members of ODM. And it is my responsibility to teach, because that's what the constitution of a party requires me to do. In fact, Honorable Speaker, I was coming to the point that we are discussing. Division of revenue is a matter that has been covered under this agreement. And, Honorable Speaker, this agreement is not restricted to the parties that have signed it. Because it's my job to teach, allow me to read what this agreement establishes. The propaganda I was saying we must combat is what this agreement is and what it is not. This agreement does not form a government. In fact, what it says, Honorable Speaker, is that it sets up a platform for collaboration and cooperation between all political forces, not ODM and UDA, all political forces and other stakeholders in Kenyan society. So everybody is welcome to have this conversation, Honorable Speaker. Allow me just to conclude what I was saying, that as SG, I'm the custodian of this document. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I was saying, for those who are asking, why is Sifuna the one who asks this question? That Article 20 of the party's constitution also confers on me the power to perform any other functions that have been allocated by an organ of a party. And I want to confirm here that the Central Committee has charged me with the marking scheme for implementation of this document, so that when I ask these questions, nobody should ask why Sifuna is asking them. When we come to Article 3 of this document, Honorable Speaker, number 1, it talks about protecting and strengthening devolution. Honorable Speaker, please allow me to debate without all these interruptions. I don't know who I have offended.
Senator Sifuna, you know, unfortunately, I cannot deny members' points of order.
Yeah, but Honorable Speaker,
it's not possible to deny them. Maybe you request them not to interrupt.
Honorable Speaker, under Standing Order 121, you have powers to stop frivolous points of order. Please allow me to debate, because I think...
Please, just have a seat. I want to reason if it is frivolous or it is... because I can't determine before it is, he talks about it.
Speaker, it's very rare that you get a frivolous point of order from me. The only concern that I have in the Speaker is that my friend Senator Sifuna is extensively quoting a document that is not tabled. That's my only problem, because I really, it should actually be music to my ears. But he could just do the simple thing, just table the document so that we can also have access to what you're saying. That's my only issue. But what he's saying it is music to my ears.
A relevant point of order, because you are referring to a document that is not circulated, so that the members, the other senators can have a look at it to also follow up your debate. Maybe if you want to do that, you can just table, they get copies.
Honorable Speaker, the only reason I'm making reference to this document is because it ties up with what I want to say in terms of the position that I will take as a senator from ODM on the division of revenue. Honorable Speaker, in the morning, I watched my colleagues debate this matter. And in fact, there was a reference to this document over and over, including from Senators Kajwang and the others. I did not see anybody rise up on a point of order. You know, Honorable Speaker, in this House, I feel sometimes that the rules don't apply fairly to me, that there is an attempt always to derail me when I'm here. People spoke continuously for 20 minutes without any interruption. But when Sifuna is on the floor, suddenly people want to issue points of order. Honorable Speaker, another thing is that when a document is public, this is a public document that was signed in open daylight. But people want Sifuna to be the one to bring copies to them. This is ridiculous, Honorable Speaker. Let me conclude, Honorable Speaker, by saying that we address the question of clawback on devolved functions. Now I'm not even referencing any documents. I am going to reference the positions that the party has taken on devolution. Number one, Honorable Speaker, that this devolution is something that we take pride in as having been part of the people who birthed it. And we want it to work for our people. We will resist any attempts to claw back on any devolved functions, Honorable Speaker. That is why you did not see me yesterday at that launch of or handover of housing by the President, because I strongly believe that housing is a devolved function. You will not see me at the President's launch of markets, because that's a clawback to devolution. So that person who was asking me yesterday, there's a senator who asked me yesterday why I was not at that place. It's because I believe in devolution. And this is clawback to devolution. Number two, Honorable Speaker, that we must devolve all funds for the functions that are devolved. That is the reason why my party and my party leader has taken a position on RMLF, and he has taken a position on CDF. He has said that as far as roads are concerned, the Constitution is clear in the fourth schedule. There are only two levels of roads. We have national roads and county roads. And that every single shilling that is supposed to go to counties for the maintenance or construction of roads has to be released to the county governments. Honorable Speaker, we agreed that members of the National Assembly have no business doing what the executive is supposed to be doing. And that is a conversation that is ongoing, but my party and my party leader has taken that position, and that is my position. We have spoken about increasing the budgetary allocation, Honorable Speaker, to 450 billion Kenya shillings. And that is where we are going to draw a line in the sand. We are hoping that our partners who are in government, who are running this government, will respect the agreements that we have put in place together. And then lastly, Honorable Speaker, there is addressed even in that MOU the question of timely disbursement. We pass here something called a disbursement schedule, Honorable Speaker. But the biggest problem is that the county, the National Treasury never respects that disbursement schedule. If you speak to the Council of Governors, they will tell you they were receiving money for February this month, if it has been disbursed already. It is impossible to plan and to run an enterprise when there is such uncertainty as to when you will receive that allocation. Honorable Speaker, I went to Kahawa West a few months ago. There's a market there. The most troubling thing for the traders was that although they pay market levies to the county government had allowed the construction of those modern kiosks at the entrance of the market, so that every customer who comes to the market has no business or interest going into the market. Everything can be found in the kiosks outside of the market. And Honorable Speaker, when I was there, it's almost close to a year ago, we were shown a market that is being built there, and the county government assured me that once that new market is there, they will accommodate everybody there. I want to go back there very soon, Honorable Speaker, because the reports I'm getting is that that market has stalled. If you look at our sporting facilities, we had that conversation when we were doing statements. City Stadium, Honorable Speaker, has been closed for over 2 years up to now. And when you ask governors why nothing is happening on the ground, the thing they always cite is late disbursement of money and a lack of resources. You go to James Kangede in Woodley, that is the same situation. Honorable Speaker, I went to Roysambu just a few weeks ago. We had a meeting there with resident associations in Roysambu under the leadership of the MCA, so Peter Mumbi. Honorable Speaker, would you believe it? There is not a single public ECD school in Roysambu ward. Number two, there are no playgrounds in Roysambu, Honorable Speaker, and the spaces that have been designated for playgrounds have been grabbed. If you go to Marurui Health Center and you look at the situation of that place, Honorable Speaker, it is despicable. First of all, construction has never been completed. Number two, there was supposed to be a fence that is built because you can imagine, Honorable Speaker, it is a maternity and it is so close to the road that people can actually hear and see our mothers when they are giving birth, something that is the indignity that we spoke about. I say the governor promised a city of order and dignity. You should go to Marurui when it rains, Honorable Speaker. You will be embarrassed to be in the city of Nairobi. I had another meeting recently with MCA Ndungu from Kiamaiko. He tells me there is no single capital project that is being undertaken in Kiamaiko ward, Honorable Speaker. And that the biggest problem is even last year when they were given some allocation for construction of roads, some contractors did good cable roads in the ward, but they have not been paid up to now. When you ask Sakaja, Governor Sakaja, he will tell you he has no money. Late disbursement by the National Treasury and other challenges that he says is facing. I had a meeting with Karis, who is our MCA, Honorable Speaker, from Ruai. Ruai is one of the largest wards actually in Nairobi. It is actually the largest. I think it's about 100 square kilometers. Honorable Speaker, number one, there are no roads that have been built by the county in Ruai ward. There was an attempt, he told me, to do a road called Kanisani Road, Honorable Speaker, and about 387 million shillings was allocated. Then the road construction was broken into two parts, Part A and Part B. The contractor did something for Part A. 3 rainy seasons later, Honorable Speaker, that entire thing was washed away because he did not have the resources to be able to complete the road. He told me about the water situation in his ward. Honorable Speaker, that cartels have gotten into the procurement for the connections from the main pipes to the homes and ensured that a tender is not awarded for that work. Up to today, the people of Ruai are not enjoying that water that they were supposed to enjoy. I was shocked, Honorable Speaker, that the situation in his ward is so bad that private people have decided to fund county services, that they will ask for the county to give them a tipper, a lorry, or those machines that grade roads. They will fuel it themselves. Honorable Speaker, are we really in a situation where private money now has to be sourced for us to be able to undertake services for our people? It is such a shame, Honorable Speaker. And these are the reasons why I want to say, Honorable Speaker, I agree 100% with our Committee on Finance and Budget, who have proposed 465. For me, the line will be drawn in the sand at 450, personally, because of the position that has been taken by my party. Honorable Speaker, therefore, we will not support any attempts to claw back our devolution, and we want to say that the CS for Treasury must make sure that there is observance of the disbursement schedule so that county governors can also plan. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, allow me to say something that arose in the course of the debate in the morning. Honorable Speaker, as a Kenyan leader, I know that we leaders have a responsibility to Kenyans and no other person. I was deeply embarrassed, Honorable Speaker, that at a time when people are being deported from our neighboring country, and if you look at my passport, Honorable Speaker, I have the blue passport. It says East Africa Community. When I was a member of the Law Society of Kenya, Honorable Speaker, at the council, we used to do something called, push for something called cross-border practice. There are lawyers who are qualified from the University of Dar es Salaam, Tanzanians, who practice law in our Kenyan courts. There are students at the Kenya School of Law from Tanzania and from Uganda. I know lawyers who went to Kampala International University and Makerere, who qualified there, and they have come to the Kenya School of Law. They are practicing law in Kenya. So therefore, Honorable Speaker, for us to have a situation where people cannot be allowed to move freely in the community is something that we must call out. Honorable Speaker, I have had people trying to justify, saying, oh, these are activists. Activism in itself, Honorable Speaker, is not a crime. I know Tanzanian law, there's no law that says activism is a crime. Honorable Speaker. So for me, I was deeply embarrassed to see our Foreign Affairs Minister, who should be our foremost defender, adopt a very nonchalant, a very laid-back, a very lazy attitude yesterday on Citizen, Honorable Speaker, that he has not even summoned the Tanzanian ambassador to ask him what was the reason why these brothers of ours were expelled. As we speak, there are Kenyans whose whereabouts are still unknown. Just show some concern for your countrymen. That is the job that you are given to do, Honorable Speaker. So I was a bit disappointed. And we need to, as a community of nations in East Africa, we must, Honorable Speaker, call out dictatorial tendencies whenever they emerge, because we are all brothers. If you ask Senator Eddy at his border in Isebania, people trade and cross over freely. We are brothers and sisters, and we cannot allow a situation where we have Kenyans being deported. At least when I was deported from Angola, I took it in stride. By the way, nobody in government bothered, Honorable Speaker. But I was okay, because me, I can take care of myself. Plus, Angola is far away. We don't share any borders. I don't think I know any Kenyan who's married to an Angolan. It was okay. But Tanzania are our brothers and sisters. And we must, Honorable Speaker, stand up for every Kenyan. This is the reason why, Honorable Speaker, when people start conversations about patriotism, it is very difficult to love a country that does not care about you. That I know that if I am in a quandary somewhere outside Kenya, the Kenyan government, or at least the CS for Foreign Affairs, will not care what happens to Sifuna. Honorable Speaker, it breaks my heart. If I was stuck in southern Lebanon when the war began, would this government really come for me? That is the question I ask myself. We are on our own. Then when we complain, people say, oh, you don't love your country. Love, Honorable Speaker, is reciprocal. You love me, I love you. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Wambu Enoch.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I like the parting shot by Senator Sifuna. He's craving love from the government so that he can love back. Mr. Speaker, I'm very sure there is nothing out of order there. Mr. Speaker, first of all, I want to, from the onset, declare that I fully support the recommendations by the Senate Committee on Finance and Budget on the division of Revenue Bill 2025. Mr. Speaker, I want to say a few things. One, the committee has given us a very elaborate and scientific account of why they are proposing 465 billion as the allocation to counties in this coming financial year. Mr. Speaker, first things first, I like the keenness of the committee, because on page 8 of their report, paragraph D, on the observations, they have captured it very well, Mr. Speaker, that the bill is using the most recent audited and approved accounts of revenue for the year 2020-2021, which then amounted to 1.5 trillion. But the same assembly, on April 15th, later after doing their maths, they approved the audited accounts of revenue of 1.9 trillion for the financial year 2021-2022, which then makes that 1.9 trillion the latest audited accounts, and all calculations then should flow from financial year 2021-2022. But Mr. Speaker, even without going to the science of this argument as captured by the report of our committee, Mr. Speaker, it is very clear that the ordinary revenue is growing every year, but there is no proportionate growth in revenue allocated to county governments. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the report, it captures the imagination of all Kenyans of goodwill, that there are expenditures that are non-discretionary for county governments. Expenditures like payments to chief, the housing levy, NSSF, and the county aggregated industrial parks. Mr. Speaker, these are policy decisions that have been taken at the national level, which policy decisions have a direct bearing on the revenues of county governments. When you say that you are going to allocate 250 million Kenya shillings for the county aggregated industrial park in every county, and every county government is supposed to match that allocation, as a Speaker, it is not like there is any county government that has the option of opting out. All of them must spend 250 million Kenya shillings to match the government expenditure for the parks. And for this reason, Mr. Speaker, there is reason to consider that amount in the allocation to counties. Because then if you don't, what it means is that they will have to stop other budgetary allocations for their functions to support the industrial parks. And Mr. Speaker, that is basic intelligence. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of the UHC, and every speaker has spoken to this matter, Mr. Speaker. You know, hardly a day passes before medics working under the universal health coverage demonstrate outside of Parliament, and specifically outside the gates of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I heard the minister or the cabinet secretary responsible for health the other day saying that they are now going to be offloading the UHC staff to county governments. Mr. Speaker, if that is going to happen, then the expectation, Mr. Speaker, would be that all these UHC staff, if they have got to migrate to the county government's payrolls, then they must migrate with their budget for their salaries and allowances. Because, Mr. Speaker,